Alright guys, so up to game number 3 in the best of 5 between Ganji on the Koreans and Lord Turfix on the Mongols now in the Deathmatch World Cup 5 qualifier group stages. It's a massive 80 player qualifier for a $10,000 tournament. So Ganji, well, he's just the hussar across, but he just needs to focus on the builders here. Here we go, forcing a pair of villagers to garrison there, but he will fall quite quickly, and Turfix is quite safe to keep building from here. Meanwhile, I don't think he was able to get any of Ganji's villagers at the moment. Oh, actually, he did manage to secure one of Ganji's villagers, so Turfix actually looking to be in a quite nice spot here. This Korean opponent forced to have to get the quick halbs, while the camels going to be an insane pest here because there's not really any cavalry that just outright deal with them. So Turfix is able to get another villager kill there. But now he's going to have to deal with halbs in his base, and trying to fight them with cavalry is fairly cost inefficient. So the step lance are falling. So Turfix is going to go for a castle, but Ganji will go for one himself. To the back side of the base, he's going to finish a keep. A pair of keep, actually. A different style here from Ganji. He's usually been playing fairly aggressive with the castles. Here we go. Oh no, adding a town centre now. Some monasteries. There we go. He's adding the monasteries. Now we've got some Scorps in the mix alongside Step Lancers and Cav Archers. So a nice mix, considering there's a lot of halbs here to deal with. So the Step Lancers probably not going to want to engage too quickly here. Just let the Scorps do the work, make it difficult for the opponent to engage. But it's a nice shot there for the Onager. Oh, and they do pick off all the Scorps. So Ganji's ready, and he's now forcing Turfix to have to get his own Onagers and keep getting some more melee to try and repel their splash. Turfix is trying to go for some villagers here if he can reach them, but he hasn't got quite enough to really pick them off. Only really able to get one villager there. He's sort of stabilizing for the minute, and now some more Scorps, but will they be hit by the Onager? There we go, another Onager shot lands. The halb's even able to get on top of the Scorps. But Ganji having to deal with Turfix's own Onagers behind this. But there is slightly more range here for the Onagers for the Korean player than there is for the Mongol player. Things having a bit of a break in play once again. And a lot of town centers this time for Turfix. He doesn't want to get caught too far down on eco. Ganji actually playing a little light on eco this one. He knows he's just got to make sure he can win a couple of fights first, and then he can really start to worry about it. There we go, he's adding a couple more town centers himself. But Turfix landing a great couple of shots there, taking out 6 mangonels with 2 mangonel shots of his own. Now that he's got Mangadai in the mix, these guys are like an improved version of the Cav Archers. Slightly more damage. Oh, but a few of them falling now. There's been quite expensive trades from our players here. Ganji losing a couple of halbs there. But Turfix losing all the heavy Cav Archers for his trouble, who he'd forgotten about these guys. It's a bit rough for him. The Treb in place to try and whittle away at the castle here, but there's a lot of keeps being thrown down here as well. Villagers unable to get that keep finished, being picked off there by Turfix, so he's making it difficult for Ganji to keep creeping forward, but I think Ganji is slightly ahead in terms of his army count at the moment. Turfix is actually taking the lead in terms of eco at 48 villagers to 29. So really quite impressive for him, but is he fielding just enough army to make sure he can get through this? and maintain a longer fight. He needs to be careful that he doesn't overextend with his range and just sort of sit between his castles, just make sure his opponent can't take them down with some trebs. But all this is a bit rough now. He's going to lose a couple of Onegas and he's losing a couple of Mangadai. Ganji's largely just throwing away halbs just to keep these Onegas alive, and it's really working for him at the moment. But that shot did deal a little bit of overkill. And a splash can sometimes be your enemy, sometimes be your friend. A nice shot there from Ganji. Oh, he's able to pick off the monk as well. Turfix trying to side build here and restrict Ganji, who's trying to tower up around this corner as well. So nice from Turfix. He's going to secure that gold. He's going to try and secure this other side of the map as well. A lot of Onegas now for Ganji. He's got 15. We got 6 here for Turfix, so this really could be quite messy. But Turfix certainly does not want to take a bad engagement, but he's landed a couple of nice shots there. Even though he's got the range disadvantage, he's managing to actually take some really nice trades there against Ganji. Ganji now up to 87 Vils. Turfix on 85, so the Vil gap is actually close. Ooh, and Ganji's actually going to deny the castle here of Turfix, as he needs to get some villages on that immediately, but Ganji's going to wall it off. Even though it's on 98%, it's very easy to finish off, but Ganji's going to make it impossible to finish off. Crazy stuff. My goodness, this is ultimate genius here from Ganji. That castle now, it's going to have to be cancelled, or the wall's going to have to be taken down to finish it off. So now Turfix is going to be very easy to raid here. Ganji can look at just putting another tower over here, just basically towering the gold mine, preventing this other castle from going up. Turfix is looking really rough for him. He's having to use more villagers building. Not able to gather some more gold behind this. He probably needs to try and sneak a raid around and punish Ganji and make him come back home with this relatively slow army, because I mean, you've got infantry and siege. They're not going anywhere quickly. If you can get, you know, or a bit too late now, Ganji's got a castle over there, but I was going to say, if you could sneak them in some HCAs or some hussars or something, yeah, just get a little bit of value out of it. The tower's preventing the gold gathering there. It's an insane amount of siege Onegas now. 19 of them for Ganji versus, well, Turfix, he's got 3 or 4 of them. Now he's having to deal with this Korean towering as the Mongols. He just needs to find a way to give himself a bit of space, but it's a nice shot there. Oh, it's another nice shot there. Mangonels are going to fall. They are getting a bit of value. That's a little bit of friendly fire here for Ganji as well. The Turfix force have to use a lot of villagers to repair when they could be gathering right now. It's a nice shot for him. He's landing a couple of good hits here. Oh, and another one. So Ganji losing 7 or 8 mangonels there. But he is still pulling well ahead. He's really restricting his opponent's gold gathering. Turfix really going for a big wood boom behind this. He's up to 110 villagers, but he's up against 149 for Ganji. He's just going to be able to outgather him while they're taking these trades. But now Turfix actually seems to have a bit of an advantage with the army, but Ganji's going to be able to retreat back to the towers, and there's so many trebs there. Turfix needs to actually get, you know, his own dozen trebs or own dozen bombard cannons in order to be able to break through this. And now a lot of the army's just falling. He's got some rams to try and chip away at his opponent, but they are a little bit susceptible to the mangonels. They are only going to be able to deal quite minor damage to the tower. So Turfix, I think, really just needs to get some of his own trebs so he can clean up these towers. He can work his way around his opponent's base, force Ganji back, because eventually he's just going to lose all his structures from here. But Ganji, in the meanwhile, really impressive gathering behind this. To 150 Vil Pop, he's just continually staying maxed out in terms of his army. Even bringing villagers forward, because why not? Actually, I think he just outright deleted her. I need the pop space. But Turfix is finding he's really restricted, having to gather at the back of his base once again. He's got plenty of gold there he needs to sit on. There we go, he's now got a treb to try and start cleaning up around the top there, but there's still 7 of them for Ganji. So the Omega's being used to actually try and hit the Mangadai no matter what, and they get a good couple of shots off. Ooh, a bit more friendly fire there for Ganji, but it's only on help, so it's not really costing him limited gold. He's, you know, got plenty of wood behind this, and he's starting to get a lot of food. He's got plenty of space, he's got all the map control at the moment. He's slowly creeping ahead of Turfix, who's down by about 40 villagers. In fact, Ganji's actually ready to start taking out some of the production over this side. He's just sort of forgotten about those trebs for the minute. But Turfix really needs to start maybe even using, or we can't even use the villagers to try and take out the trebs because they're still inside town center range, tower castle range. But ooh, here we go. Turfix has actually noticed Ganji going for the trebs, but we've forgotten about them, and now they're going to get cleaned up. So there's one thing going Turfix's way at the moment. But he needs to possibly look at raiding if he can somewhere. Ganji, a really impressive wall of towers now. A bit more friendly fire, but Ganji can definitely afford it at this point. I think the mini-map's a little bit telling of the game at the moment. Ganji able to play a little bit more expensive, impressive food income up here as well. Food, I'm thinking about food. I got dinner after this. Turfix as well, growing his eco still. He's up to 115 vils, but he's still trailing by about 30, so it's a bit rough for him. And now Ganji's creeping forward with towers, wants another fallback line, so he can just keep continually pushing into Turfix, who's eventually going to have nowhere to go here. He's really restricted to gathering just the wood at the moment. He's running out of gold. Both our players sort of have at this point, I think. But with that eco advantage, Ganji can just sort of gather through it. It's not really a huge problem that he's got to transfer wood into gold or food into gold. And he is largely pushing with the halbs. So Turfix getting some omegas of his own. We've actually seen land some impressive shots all game. Even though he's actually, there we go, landing another one. Even though Ganji's actually outranging him and outnumbering him with the omegas, Turfix continues to make them work, but I don't know for how much longer. GG, well played is called, and that's the series, guys.